Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Okay. Although very long, but I appreciated the comprehensiveness of your report and also the somehow I can see the applications of the principles that I wrote down in the patient management framework. Okay. The, the mere fact that you were applying some of them, not all of them. Okay. Okay. Most of them, yeah. Okay. So that means I hope you will you're not forced to, okay, but I think you'll agree with the usefulness of that framework. Okay. Okay. So through your case discussion presentations, you have experienced a patient with a breast cancer being managed from diagnosis up to at least the post-op treatment. Okay. So ideally, we should have an experience of seeing the entire spectrum up to either cure, the so-called long-term remission, or death. Okay, so those are the two endpoints now. But at the moment, you have experienced the case up to the post-operative treatment. Okay, there are more to be done to this patient, right? Okay. So, but I want to tell you that what you have seen is not the only way of treating a patient with breast cancer. Okay. So the management will vary, okay, from patient to patients and also from physicians to physicians. No? Okay. So one advice that I can give you when you see people managing patients in the different ways, do not criticize them right away. No. So try to um, respect them, and then try to understand that probably they did it based on certain situations, certain factors. No, okay. So the main point there is that as long as they can rationalize their treatment options and treatment, that's acceptable. Okay. So there's no such thing as the cajon that this patient should be treated with excision biopsy. The patient should be treated with core needle biopsy. No? Okay. That's why we have the BRCA to guide you. No? Okay. So the physicians will have to decide based on um, some processes. No? Okay. So they have to rationalize it, and then using a basic process. Wag yung when they rationalize it based on gut feel, based on the usual trend, that's not good. No? Okay. So in terms of diagnosis, they have to rationalize it based on, for me, I'm using the pattern recognition and also the prevalence as the two processes, which are simple to understand compared to the so-called, the literature, you're going to see this so-called hypothetical deductive reasoning. Up to now, I cannot understand how to apply it. No, okay. So just use the pattern recognition. Pattern means based on the signs and symptoms usually presented by a particular disease. No? And then if there are several diseases that present the same signs and symptoms, you invoke the prevalence process to help you. No? Okay. Just like in the era of the flu, of the COVID-19, no? Okay, they have the same symptoms as flu, tama? COVID-19. Um, Flu have the same symptoms as COVID-19, but because of the pandemic, our diagnosis became COVID-19 at that time, now as the first diagnosis. Okay. Nowadays, I don't know now. I have to check the prevalence. They still present with the same signs and symptoms, flu and also COVID-19, but we have to check the prevalence. No? Okay, at this point in time. If the prevalence will show that COVID-19 is down, very low already, then your primary diagnosis, clinical diagnosis will be flu. Okay. So this is short of doing a laboratory test to check which one is the real cause. Okay. So that's an application of prevalence na process. Okay. So any questions? We have about 30 minutes left. Okay. So any questions? I want to ask you first. What are your questions before I point out several issues here in your discussion or in the patient management? Any questions? Throw one question each. Mahirap yan para sa akin.
Sir, I would like to ask a question because I found the OLED exercise very insightful and helpful, and I wish na we had this earlier in LU 3, 4, and even 5 po. So, is it okay if we ask po how you were able to develop such framework? Do you have any certain influences in making the framework po? Yes po.
Okay. I thought you're going to ask question on the case. Okay. Okay. Anyway, okay. I developed it out of my arising from my practice of medicine after graduation from the UP College of Medicine and also from the residency program in the Philippine General Hospital, I try to rationalize and I try to analyze why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? No? Okay. So I came out with that framework also because of the motivate of the trigger because I was involved in the development of medical curriculum in the underserved area like Zamboanga Medical School Foundation. Okay, I started with the problem-based learning, and also when I was teaching the residents, surgical residents in the underserved area. No, okay, so I tried to develop a framework that will be easy to understand. Now that's why I included the cost and availability. Okay. So before I came out with the framework, no, I was not taught about the cost and availability factor. No, so when I go out to the provinces, when I spent my rural service for 6 months in Jumalig Island after graduation, I saw the need to invoke all those because in PGAs after internship, ito lang ginagawa ninyo, ito yung dapat gawin natin, no? But faced with the limited resources, you really have to adjust, no? So I decided to input also the cost and availability factors, okay? So that's it. So did I answer your questions?
Yes po, sir. Thank you po.
Uh, so put in the cost and availability palagi, no? Okay. 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 So that's one question for Angelica. Okay. About the others.
Sir, I would like to ask a question for regarding the case.
The case. Okay.
Yes, sir. So if you were the primary or the physician for this patient po, would you recommend an adjuvant hormonal therapy for her case?
Hormonal. Okay. So the patient is positive nodes, right? How
Yes,
many
sir.
nodes? How many
Oh,
nodes?
so
If
far,
you can,
sir, we're awaiting for the final biopsy, but positive po for one.
based on the surgical
Yes po.
examination,
Yes, sir.
no histopath yet, no?
No
Okay.
histopath yet.
So assuming that there's a node there, no,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have also the breast panel, ERPR, and also the HER2,
Her
no?
two.
Okay. For me, I usually, the first guide that you're asking my opinion, no? Okay. For first guide will be if there are nodes or no nodes, no? Nodes
Mm-hmm.
are still the most important prognostic factors, no? If there are no nodes present, usually I go for adjuvant therapy. No? Now,
Mm-hmm.
which adjuvant therapy will I choose? It will all depend on the BRCA. No?
Yes.
Okay. So that's why when I was listening to your journal appraisal, probably because you were studying the issue of hormonal therapy in nodes positive. No? Okay. The current practice is that if you have nodes, usually the first uh, the first impulse is really to go for a chemotherapy. Na chemotherapy first, and then based on the ERPR, then you give your hormonal therapy or even your if the Herceptin is the HER2 is positive now, then you give your trastuzumab. Na okay. So that's why I said probably I should ask the question how, if you do chemotherapy alone, will the survival rate, recurrence rate be the same if we just give hormonal therapy? No? Okay. I still have to make a formal study on that because we have a lot of patients. Okay, this is part of our learning in community social issues now. A lot of Filipino patients are afraid of chemotherapy. Do you agree? Have you heard of that? Okay. So the moment they have breast cancer, one of the reasons why they don't like to be treated right away because ang, they're afraid of the chemotherapy right away. Ay, baka i-chemo ko, ayaw ko na. Okay. So they usually go to alternative medicine already. No? Okay. Then, in such cases, the mass keeps on growing to the point that pag they reach, they come to us to the parang hindi na umubra yung alternative medicine, malaki na, no? Stage T4, T3, T3, T4 na, no? Ganon. Okay. The common reason is that we are afraid of the chemotherapy, no? Yeah, in such patients na may plus one, if it's plus one, it all depends on the number also. I use that as a guide. If there are only one node or two nodes, no, if the ERP are positive, then I just give hormonal therapy. No more chemo. No? Okay. Okay, just observe and monitor. No? Although I lay out the cards for them. No? So I'll tell them these are the options that you may need chemotherapy because your nodes are positive. No? Then you may have, because the nodes are plus only one, now you can have hormonal therapy. No? Ganun. Okay. So options, ano. No? Okay. Okay. Did I answer your
Yes, sir.
question,
Yes, sir. Thank you po.
Iris? Okay. Uh, Dom, Tamayo.
Ayun. Hello po, sir. Good morning.
Questions.
So I think my question more is since we're on the post-op period na po and considering nagka-mastectomy na po yung patient, uh, as we know, cosmesis is an important consideration nga po for specifically post-surgery breast cancer patients. So,
Naghang. Naghang.
Dom.
Okay.
Ayan na po. He's back.
Okay. You're back.
ayun, sir. Sorry. Ayun. Okay. Ulitin ko na lang. So, cosmesis is an important issue for breast cancer patients. So in this case, if ever the patient were to opt for breast reconstruction, would you recommend, what are the factors would you consider po, sir, in offering and, with regard to her timeline, if ever, since my right breast pa po siya?
The right breast. And what's your
Ay,
question? What?
would you recommend po, sir, breast reconstruction immediately for this patient, or what factors would play into considering breast reconstruction for the patient?
Okay. So number one, I have to look for the reasons. Okay. I have to assess what she really wants. Okay. So if she really not amenable to losing her breast, that she wants to have it reconstructed, no? And then, but you have to tell her about the cost of the reconstructions, no? And also the possible side effects, no? So if she still wants to have the reconstructions, I'll, I'll accede to her request, then look for somebody who can do it, no? For her, no? Okay. So immediate or delayed reconstruction, those are the two options, no? Okay. In her case, she was already post-op, no? Pwede pa rin immediate, no? Okay. And then, but you also have to assess, okay, I think I have a question regarding the case. Ultrasound, there were two nodes, two masses,
Yes po.
right? And
Yes
then
po.
the report just mentioned one, invasive ductal carcinoma, right? And
Yes.
then post-op, there's a
Mhm.
residual.
Yes, sir. For the post-op, actually, the primary surgeon still unsure if that's really a residual tumor. So, parang she's just suspecting that maybe residual tumor. Kasi they found out a 1 by 1 cm fibrous mass on the specimen. But they sent her to really check if it's really a residual tumor po.
Okay. So we have to reconcile all these things before we give into that decision to request
Mm-hmm.
to have the breast reconstruction. No? So make sure
Mm-hmm.
that everything is removed before you do the breast reconstruction. No? Okay. So let the of course let the factors decide for it now whether it's delayed or immediate. No? Okay. And of course the financial also. Okay. Okay.
Thank you po, sir.
Okay. What else?
Sir, I'd
Erica? Sige. Dennis.
like to ask a question.
Diana. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, kasi this patient was seen at our OPD a while back na po, no? And then this patient underwent excision biopsy
Hmm.
after all the imaging's done. So would you agree, sir, that excision biopsy was done first, or would it be more practical to have the patient undergone core needle biopsy first and then underwent MRM after if the biopsy revealed the invasive ductal carcinoma na po?
Okay. Where was this operation done?
Yes.
November
Where?
2024, sir.
What province?
Alabang, in Alabang,
Just
sir.
Alabang.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, as I said, to options, you go for options. You want to establish the diagnosis of the mass, no, that was palpated, no. You have the option. If you go for biopsy, you have three options, no. One is the fine needle aspiration biopsy, then the core needle, and then the open biopsy, no. Okay. So we compare the three, no, in terms of needle biopsy, if you really just want to get the diagnosis of whether it's cancer or not, no, so needle biopsy will be sufficient, no. It has a 90% accuracy rate, no. But if you want to if needle biopsy has less than 90% accuracy rate, we don't consider that. No, it has 90, no, at least 90. No. And then if you really want to have a ERPR study before the operation, no, then you go for the core needle. No? Okay. Now, the open biopsy is usually the last resort. No? Okay. So, but this is another social issues, no? A lot of surgeons would do an outright excision biopsy because they can charge more, no? Okay, they can earn more, no? Okay. So, after the biopsy, they don't care whether the patient will come back but at least at the moment they already earned something. No? Okay. Okay. So the best okay, it all depends. Now 90% would be good enough if it's if you're not after the ERPR, no? Okay. Okay, one of the reasons why a core needle biopsy is being done nowadays, now very common, very popular, because in the past we started with fine needle, even in PGH we started that, no? But since a lot of our residents, no, okay, came out with a lot of false negative, false positive, inadequate sampling, no? So we changed our position, our treatment plan to core biopsy para mas maraming what do you call that, results, no? Okay. But I personally, when in my clinic, I usually go for a needle biopsy pa rin, no? So it all depends on the surgeon doing it, eh, no? There is a right technique for that, no? Okay. So ganon. But I usually tell the I again lay down the cards, put down fine needle biopsy. The benefit is 90%. Now, core needle, more than 90%, let's say 95, 90, 97. And then with the advantage of uh, examination of the ERPR. No? Okay. And then the last one will be the excision biopsy. It has the highest results, benefit in terms of diagnostic accuracy, 98, 99, no? But you just balance it with the risk, okay? So you have a scar there with the open needle, open biopsy, and then doon sa core needle naman, frequent hematoma, okay? More frequent than fine needle biopsy, no? And then if you go for the open, sayang nga, babalikan mo na naman another operation, no? So that's another disadvantage for the core, for the open, no? Okay. So nowadays, it's really a choice between fine needle and also the core needle, no? Okay. But majority will do core needle, no? And then the core needle, okay, is social issues here. Yung mga palpable, in the discussion, I don't know who mentioned that. In PJ kanya, puros palpation lang, di ba? Palpation to do the core needle, no? Okay.
Yes, sir. I was also the one who mentioned
You
that.
were the one who mentioned
Yeah.
that. Okay. Now, if it's very small, you really have to go for the ultrasound guided, no? Okay. Pero a lot of physicians, surgeons, they would go for the core needle, ultrasound guided core needle, even though it's really readily palpable, no? Okay. So, parang hindi na kailangan because it's readily palpable, but they will also reason it out para sigurado, no? But you can do it if it's palpable, if you think it's about 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, no, it's easy to hit it with the core needle. You can do it there in the clinic, no, without the ultrasound guided. No? Okay. Okay. Sino pa? Erika,
Uh,
your
sir, I'll just
questions?
more of a general question po, sir. But I was curious din po about, have you had any cases where you've had to manage a patient with breast cancer who was also pregnant? So the additional considerations you would have for those types of patients and how you coordinate with OB, for example, for pregnant patients with breast cancer.
Yeah, usually for pregnant patients, we treat it as if she's not pregnant. Now we just do the operations. Especially it's operation, not chemo. Huh? If it's operation, we do it as soon as possible. No, of course, if it's in the first trimester, we probably wait for the first trimester to pass, and then after that, do the operation. No, okay. Then we coordinate, of course, with the OB. No. Ang challenges diyan, yung mga advanced, no, at breast cancer with advanced stage, no, you don't know what to do now, no, okay. So if it's you cannot operate, no, and then you have to give chemo, no, and chemo is not a guarantee also, no, okay, and then you're going to have side effects on the fetus, no, okay. So this has to be discussed with the patients, no, okay, okay, Thea,
Yes, sir. I have a
okay.
question po. Well, we're just looking through the articles and then I came across na yung sa BRCA na genetic testing. So, I would just like to ask if in your opinion, ano yung what is the benefit of BRCA na testing for young females with breast cancer, especially in a resource limited setting such as the Philippines, because in our patient, she's a relatively young female with female din na mga anak. So parang that's one of my considerations um if it's really beneficial given na resource limited yung settings here in the Philippines. So in your practice, sir, have you had patients who underwent this testing, and then how has it been management changing for them and for their family or for their daughters na possible na mapass on yung mutation? Thank you.
Okay. Now, honestly, in my practice, I've not encountered a patient whom I would suggest BRCA or genetic testing. No, but I think in our division we're starting to have that. No, try to develop a genetic testing studies, no? Okay. Now, kung I if there's it's not only because she's young, no? Okay, even with elderly patients or older patients, if they have a strong family history, let's say one sister has already, two sisters have breast cancer, most likely there's a genetic predisposition, no? Okay, so since it's very expensive, no, I don't usually go for that uh, genetic testing anymore. I just advise the patient. Now you closely monitor yourself. Okay. So just try to catch it as soon as possible. Okay, without going through the test. Okay. So there's an advantage to have the genetic testing. It can give you more uh, higher probability of getting it if it's positive. No, okay, but you cannot really predict 100%. Even though you're positive for it, you're going to have breast cancer. No, okay. Second, who knows? If you're even prone to breast cancer, you might die of another cause. No, okay. I-monitor na lang. No, okay. That's part of living our life in this earth. A lot of uncertainties. Na, okay. Okay. Okay?
Thank you,
Sino
sir.
pa? Sino pa hindi pa Jessie, Janet, Janina? Erika?
Yes,
Tapos ka
sir.
na?
Not yet po.
Okay.
So, my question is regarding the screening po. Actually, I read naman po na breast self-examination is usually recommended for uh for everyone po. But then, in up-to-date po, they do not encourage the breast self-examination and clinical breast examination due to risk for overdiagnosis po and associated the anxiety for the patient since usually benign daw po yung mga in patients less than 40 years old or those with low risk naman po. So they don't recommend po yung self-breast examination. And they say po na experts do not suggest also the uh, breast self-examination and clinical breast examination. So I was wondering po, when should we suggest the breast self-examination? Since usually during Women's Month, we always see posters of the breast self-examination. And we usually recommend, parang first time ko po makita and up to date na they do not encourage po yung breast self-examination.
Okay. Thank you for that raising that issue. When you say up to date, that's a journal, up to date.
Yes po.
Okay, okay. So actually, it's not only up to date, but there are a lot of researches, no? That's why yung mga journal appraisal ninyo, no? You just don't accept it hook, line, and sinker. Now you have to see the clinical significance, no? Also in terms of the culture, the practices of the people, no? Okay. So actually, if you base it on studies of researches, no? Mas maganda yung mammography over breast self-examination in terms of detecting early breast cancer, no? Because mammography kasi they look for the calcifications which are not yet palpable, di ba? Okay. So if you palpate the breast with microcalcification, you won't be able to palpate that, you won't be able to detect the breast cancer, no? Okay. So that's why they said for earlier breast detection, it should be mammography. No? But even with mammography, there's a lot of controversies. There's also, you mentioned about over reading, over diagnosis. Ganon din sa mammography. Okay, there is an issue up to now. There are a lot of false alarm, no? Okay. And then false positive, no? A lot of false positive, no? Okay. Ako, personally, I still go for breast self-examination because it's the most practical, no? of detecting. I think in your one of your statement, the statement that I heard earlier, majority are still discovered through breast self-examination. Okay, tama, ano? So you just have to encourage people to do breast self-examination on a regular basis. No? Okay. Regular basis, ito, issue nito yung tinatawag na monthly breast self-examination. I think I'd like to change it kahit na everyday gawin na ninyo because every day you take a bath, no? You're washing your breast and then you palpating your breast. Tingnan na lang ninyo. Okay? So, kapa-kapa lang naman eh, di ba? It will take 1 minute or 2 minutes to do that, di ba? Okay. So, ganon, no? So, yung age naman, yung age, I saw the report there to age 25. I like to change it to 18 na. The basis on when to start doing the breast self-examination, one basis could be what at what age is the most frequent incidence or prevalence of breast cancer. You can start on that based on that, di ba? Okay, but we know that the breast cancer becoming occurring at earlier stages, earlier age, sa mga kung may 18, no, may 25, no, ganon, no. So nowadays I just recommend 18 kahit pa sa adult na lang. At an adult age, now who can think, just use that as a basis for recommending 18 years old, start doing your breast cancer, breast self-assessment. Okay. The earlier, the better para may lead time ka. We know that if the breast cancer will occur at age 30, 40, at least may lead time ka na in trying to examine your own breast. No? Ganon. Okay? So yung mga breast cancer consciousness month, marami ring mga who took advantage of that package of mga force discount na mammography, ultrasound, di ba? Okay. So I don't know, meron ba? Marami ba nagpo-promote ng breast self-exam during breast cancer consciousness month?
Yes po.
Yes,
Maraming
sir. Parang
posters
napansin
po
naman.
Or
about it.
Yeah.
hindi niyo napapansin yung mga commercialization of the mammography, ultrasound? Hindi napapansin. May
Napapansin,
mga
sir.
package,
Usually, it is being
Nakapackage.
promoted. Yeah.
di ba? They'll say
Yeah.
discount, no? So do it now, no? Ganon. Okay. Okay. Now, a point about mammography. Yung mammography, it started to be the fad or the trend, no? Because we said you can detect it as early as possible, no? Okay. But if you look, before it used, they just recommend mammography. Nowadays, especially in the Philippines, I don't know in other countries, you have to supplement it with ultrasound. Okay. Now, in this particular patient, I was surprised and probably I'm happy to see that they have a BI-RADS 3 category. Okay. But in 95 or 98% of mammography done in the Philippines, no, if you just do a mammography, they will always put BI-RADS 0. Okay. When you say BI-RADS 0, it means needs additional test, right? And they're referring to ultrasound. Okay. For me, that's they should not put BI-RADS 0 because as a test itself, mammography, it should stand alone. Na kahit na may limitation, it should stand alone. Okay. Okay. They put a description there, no microcalcifications, whatever, no, ganon. Then they put dapat meron silang conclusion, no? That this is based on the findings, no suspicious microcalcification to suggest carcinoma. Then they just put there, most likely this is BI-RADS 2 or 3, no, ganon. Not 0, no? Okay. Okay, so take note of that. I'll tell you in 90% or more of mammography done in the Philippines, they always put BI-RADS 0. Okay. So for me, they should not put it there. They just put it kung whatever findings that they have, no, BI-RADS, kung negative for malignancy, the BI-RADS 2 or 3, di ba? Ganon. Okay. So let's look at these patients mammography. Buti na lang yung ultrasound ang nagkaroon ng between ultrasound and mammography, which one is more recommendable now? In this particular case, yung ultrasound naglagay ng
Ultrasound.
4B, di ba? O 4A?
Yes po.
4A ba o 4B?
Yung 4B, sir.
4B. Yung mammo is only 3.
BI-RADS 3.
BI-RADS 3, di ba? Okay. So BI-RADS 3 because well circumscribed yung masses, 2 masses seen in the mammography, di ba? There are no microcalcifications, na? Okay. Okay lang sa akin. They just commit to something, but doesn't mean that you will always follow that, no? Okay. You have to correlate it with your clinical findings, no? And then yung ultrasound niya, anong basis for BI-RADS 4? Can you take a look at the ultrasound? Anong basis for saying it's BI-RADS 4?
Yung
Hindi
first,
nakalagay lang, sir, solid masses, left breast, suspicious abnormality due to the irregular anterior margin with multilobulated anterior margin.
Okay. So yung irregular margin, na? Yung sa
Yes,
mammography,
sir.
ano yung margin sa mammography? There's a density there.
sa mammography, sir, well circumscribed
Okay.
incidence.
Okay. So, well, yung border, yung circumscription or ill-defined, those are some of the basis for the radiology saying whether it's malignant or benign. Na? Okay. So, ganun din sa clinical practice natin, ha? When you have a mass, na, okay, aside from the size of the mass and the location, you check for the border of the mass. Now you palpate the border, whether it's ill-defined or well-defined. If it's ill-defined, that's the minimum basis for suspecting cancer. So right away, suspect cancer. You might be wrong, but you have a basis. Na? Okay. Parang educated guess yung mga ano yan mga examinations. Na? Then, if the further on, okay, clinical examination of the breast mass, no? You assess the border, and then you assess also the consistency of the mass, whether it's hard or not hard, no? And then the other thing which is commonly left out is you try to determine the nature of the mass. What do I mean by nature of the mass? Whether it's solid or cystic. Na? Okay. So this is frequently forgotten by our clinicians, no? Okay. So when you have a palpable mass, you try to examine not only the consistency, which is in terms of hard or not hard, or not hard could be firm or soft, no? Okay. But you also try to determine whether it's solid or cystic, no? So what will tell you that it's cystic? You press on the nipple, stabilize mo yung mass, and then put one finger on top of that mass and then press on it. No? If it's fluctuant, no, depressible, that's cystic. No? Okay. So if it's cystic, then right away, it's a sign of benignity. No? Okay. If it's hard, pwedeng malignant, pwedeng benign. No? Okay. So when you do your PE, you look for signs of benignity, you look for signs for malignancy. So signs of benignity is cystic nature of the mass, even on PE. Okay? Remember yung sa ultrasound, you have seen a lot of ultrasound results already in the past. If they put their cystic nature of the mass, they always say BI-RADS 3 or 2. Benign palagi. Even sa thyroid, ganon. But sa ultrasound, they put the findings, it's a cystic mass or a complex mass, usually benign yan. Okay? So why don't we use it also in our clinical examination? No? Okay. Okay. So don't forget that you have to determine whether it's cystic or solid. No? So the other signs of malignancy, which you know, is if it's fixed, no? Fixed, no? Hindi gumagalaw, and then there is axillary lymph nodes. Those are signs of malignancy. Okay. So only one sign is enough to make you suspect malignancy. Okay, kung ill-defined ang border, kung hindi siya fixed, movable, solid, no? Walang nodes, then you say breast cancers. Okay, your degree of certainty will not be as high as if you have fixation of the mass already or skin changes. No? So your degree of certainty, if there is a ill-defined border lang, okay, so you can say probably 70% or 60%. No? But if you now have a mass which is with ill-defined border and then fixed siya, hindi siya gumagalaw, then your degree for suspecting malignancy will be as high as 90% already. Na? Okay. Okay. Okay, you see the what I'm trying to teach you. You have to estimate your degree of certainty.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Angelica, walang ano, in my experience also, no, but walang gumagawa niyan eh. But actually they do it. No? Nasa utak lang ng nila ang ano na, I gut feel ko most like sasabihin na most likely malignancy ito, di ba? But they don't quantitate it, no? Okay. Tama? Even you, when you examine a patient, mukhang cancer, mukhang hindi, no? Most likely or less likely, di ba? Ganon. So try to quantitate it na lang, okay? And then you can use that to educate, to inform your patient. Mas gusto nila yung case sa 50-50 eh. Di ba? So you can say we have 70% benign, 30% malignant, case of 50-50. Di ba? Okay. If it's a cystic nature of the mass, cystic ang mass, sabihin mo, 99% benign yan. Sabihin nyo kaagad, no? So that will remove the anxiety of a patient consulting you for the first time kung may bukol, no? Okay. So going back, breast self-examination, I'm an advocacy of breast self-examination. Okay. Even kaya meron ako mga program na I give them incentives, I give them discount. No, if they do their breast self-examination for 6 months consecutive, I give them 500 pesos discount. No. Okay. Okay. Kayo, gumagawa kayong breast self-exam.
Yes, sir. Ako personally, yes.
Okay, good. All, ha? Dapat breast self-exam. Okay. Any more questions? Everybody has asked questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Everybody asked na po.
So ano pang ini-discuss natin? So yung ano lang, yung history, yung sa history ninyo, bakit ano, um, can you just say that 6 years you noted a left breast mass with no unusual symptoms? Na? Bakit nakalagay yung mga what do you call that? Yung mga 6 o'clock position, ganun-ganon.
Sir, we followed lang yung ano po. Kasi in the template, there's like, please note the size, parang the position, mga ganun. Sa template po na binigay niyo. But when we ask the history, dinescribe lang naman po nung patient.
Okay. So actually, in the history, short lang naman actually dapat, no? Then you just evaluate the mga results, no? Okay. So you can just say that 6, number one, when you ask the patient, what's your problem, what's your concern, no? So say there's a breast mass, no? Okay. And then after that, you ask them, okay, to point to you where the breast mass is. Palaging ganon. Okay. Kasi kung minsan when they say that there's a breast mass, baka hindi talagang breast mass yan. No? So ask them to point to where she felt the so-called mass is. No? Kasi sometimes the patient will feel yung prominent ribs as a breast mass, xiphoid process as a breast mass, no? So ask them, palaging tanongin niyo, kung may concern for breast mass, where did you feel that breast mass, no? Then after that, you ask them, when was it noted? Okay? Okay na yon, no? You don't ask the question, when did it start? No? What is noted? No? Minsan, when they noted it, actually, yung time that they noted it, yung start noon, mga years before pa. Di ba? Hindi lang nila napapansin. No? Okay. So, accept it na lang. Kasi yun ang limitation sila. Hindi sila kumakapa, hindi na nakapa. No? Okay. So, when it was noted, then after that, put it at yung mga, let's say, kung 20 years ago, may significant yon. Pero kung konti lang, 1 year, 2 years, it won't change, no? It won't affect your diagnosis because you're going to base your diagnosis on your other symptoms and your other signs, no? Okay. So, I'll just give you a short algorithm, huh? Sa breast, and then, really good. Whiteboard. So, kung may breast mass, make sure it's a breast mass, ha? It's not fibrocystic changes. Ha? Yung fibrocystic changes, irregular in breast surface, ha? Okay. Dominant mass, real mass, ganito, na? Okay, that's real mass, okay? So you can use this to assist you in explaining to the patients because a lot of times patients will say, I have a breast mass, na? Okay? When you palpate, walang dominant mass, you tell them this is what you look for, no? And you use the flats of the fingers to examine your breast, not the tips of the finger, no? The pag tips of fingers ang gagamitin mo, makakapa mo itong mga nodulations, no? So the patients will say that it's a mass. Okay? So explain that to the patient, no? And then tell them that if you palpate this one, this is your red flag, no? Okay? You have to have it examined by a breast specialist right away, no? Okay. So kung talagang may breast dominant mass, okay, the algorithm here, you look for signs of inflammations muna, no? Not so common, but it can happen, no? If you have signs of inflammation, that's your diagnosis, no? So signs of inflammations will be, okay, pus will be a later sign, very front na yun, no? Okay, then redness, okay? It's an early sign, no? Pag red siya, no? But wala pang pus, tender, no? Okay, so right away, you say that most likely it's a inflammatory mass, no? If it's an inflammatory mass, there are two types, no? Kung, kung wala pang abscess, you call that mastitis, no? Kung may mass na siya, abscess na siya, may fluctuancy, no? Okay, although it has not yet ruptured to show you the pus, no? Okay. Now, if there are no signs of inflammation, you're now left with malignant or benign, no? Okay, non-malignant. First priority is look for signs of malignancy. No? Mas madaling hanapin yon, no? Although ito, pwede na, basta cystic yung mass, right away you say that most likely it's benign. No? Okay. Now, signs of malignancy will be border, ill-defined border. No? That's the earliest sign. And then hard, then fixed, skin changes, ganon, no? Signs of invasions, and then lymph nodes, no? Okay. So as I said, any one of these one will be sufficient for you to suspect malignancy. Okay. So if it's malignancy, then you tell the patients that probably you quantitate your degree of certainty. If you don't want to quantitate it to the patient, you say most deep inside you can say kung may lymph nodes na siya, most likely, no? So when you try to quantitate it, baka 98% na yan, breast cancer, no? Okay. Okay. So I have recently, last week, I just operated a patient just based on clinical, no? So 5 cm mass, solid, no, ill-defined border with lymph nodes, okay? So I said, well, 98% is malignant, no? Okay. So the conventional way is to have it biopsy, right? To confirm it. But since this patient is hard up with finances, I said, are you willing to go to an operation without a biopsy? No? So we operated on her without the biopsy, just go through the mastectomy. No? So, basta as long as there's an informed consent, importante yun. No? Okay. Informed consent that but she's willing to forego with the biopsy. She trusts you, ganon, no? Then we operate on her. So yesterday we got the result. It really turned out to be invasive ductal carcinoma with 4 out of 12 positive lymph nodes. No? Okay. Now going back here, if you have one sign, ill-defined border, the degree of certainty probably you can put there 60 to 70%. Then if it's ill-defined border and hard, probably 80%, no? And then if skin changes, 90% na yan, no? Kung fixed naman, 90% na yan, no? And with lymph nodes, 98 na, no? Okay. Okay? So that's the algorithm that I would like to share to you. Just by palpation, you can come out with a diagnosis in my experience, more than 90% of the time, the yield is as high as your ultrasound and also your mammography. Now, any questions?
So far, clear naman, sir.
Okay. So we have 10 minutes left to go. Wala na?
None, sir.
Picture.
Picture. Sige. Sige, let's have a quick picture and then one. Ready na? One, two, three. Okay. Quick feedback na lang. Sige. Give you 5 minutes. Any feedback on the sessions?
Very extensive, sir. Really appreciate yung binigay niyo po na framework and format kasi we're able to follow what needs to be discussed. So, and very organized po tong SGD na to in such a way na we started with what to expect and then we ended with feedbacks and may Q&A sessions po plus discussion.
Okay. Yung framework you can use for any types of patient, ha? Okay, not only in surgery, ha?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you po.
Thea?
There, like to thank you po, sir, for this very insightful SGD, as well as my group mates for the report done and the preparation that went through with this. I think it's also good that we had a chance to do journal appraisal because it's not always that we get to look for literature to para mas may added value, added knowledge to the case discussions as well.
Okay. Thank you. Dom?
Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. So, what I appreciate most is how we approach nga the full SGD and very applicable nga talaga to any type of patient or even, I don't know. I think it's more of the approach to how not just the patients but also systemically organizing how we go through in our internship actually is also applicable as well. So thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Diana?
Uh, Thank you so much, sir. It's a very high yield experience po to um use your framework po in managing a case. So I hope po we can apply it sooner or later sa other patients namin. Not just in surgery, of course. And also, sir, we really appreciate po the time that you did po yung all that framework and then the lecture and then the videos po for us to see and for us to know what to expect before the SGD and also the exam, sir, even though yeah, it was really lengthy, sir, pero we learned a lot and as you said also in the note there that it's really for mastery, so thank you po for that, sir.
Thank you. Parang kumon yan na mahaba, ano? Paulit-ulit, no? Okay. Okay. So, okay. Thank you for the comments. Erica?
Hi po, sir. Yes, agree with everyone. I really appreciate the framework since I think when we become future general practitioners or residents or doctors, we can really keep it in mind when we decide what tests we should do or what treatment we should follow. And important then to remind ourselves that every physician might have a different perspective than you, and it's not invalid, right? Everyone has their own decision-making process based on the context and situation per patient po. So thank you po for that, sir.
Thank you. Thank you also. Janina? Janina?
Thank you po. Again naman po with everyone. Thank you po for the high yield session po, sir. Thank you for the diagram that you discussed po to help us diagnose the patients with breast cancer. Thank you po, sir.
Okay. Angelica?
Yes, sir. Once again, we would like to thank you for this very high discussion. And I think it was very helpful then po on our end that we were able to prepare with the SGD, not just on with the context po of the case, but also with the framework that you have provided us. I believe po in a very that it could be incorporated po actually in other rotations, especially for example, family medicine po, since they're very passionate about including costs and availability for our patients. And also, we were able to even review our journal article through this SVP, which I think is helpful, po, especially when managing patients. We should always be productive in looking for evidences regarding the management that we want to consider for our patient, po. So, thank you for the activities, po, sir.
Thank you also. Any more? Wala na? Salita na lahat? Okay. So we'll call it a day. Thank you for your cooperation, for your receptiveness to whatever I'm trying to teach you. No, I hope everything's all right, acceptable to you. Okay. Sige. So we'll see each other in the wards if we have a chance. Okay. Okay. Every now and then I go there to operate, but not all the time. Okay. So bye-bye.
Bye, sir. Thank
Bye,
you po.
sir. Thank you so
Bye.
much po.
Okay.